and welcome back to Passion Sundays, the best way to end the week and start another. Our guest today is one of the world's leading lifestyle medicine doctors. He works with people like Tony Robbins, Mark Victor Hansen's, and many more A-listers, sports people, and celebrities. And one thing I gotta tell you about him, he is over 60, broken multiple world records, competing with people half his age. Dr. Nick.
Hey, it's
very
great
excited to have you here.
Yes.
Well, I don't know where to start. I mean, there's so much happening around here. So all I'm going to start with, how did you end up doing what you're doing? How did you find the passion for what you're doing?
I think originally I was in pursuit of excellence in sports and athletics, but I made a few wrong turns. And because of that, I had gained too much weight. I had developed high blood pressure. I'd had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, and I started researching and studying. I met the famous Nathan Pritikin at that time, the Pritikin Longevity Center, and so I went through a transformation after reading his books and working with him. I had dropped about 50 pounds of body fat and got in the best shape of my life, and my blood pressure came down to normal, and I was off medications, and I realized, wow, I was onto something huge, and I think that was the beginning.
Okay, so it wasn't that you're always as fit. It's just the passion for fitness kind of developed more and more?
Yeah, I was in the health profession. I had taken psychology and physical therapy, and I was working with people, but then I became my own patient. It became a little scary when my health declined. And I think people have to have some setbacks in their life. The greatest things come out of setbacks and what you do when you're kind of down and under.
I love it. And when you're working with people like Tony Robbins or his team, I mean, he's known to be one of the highest performers around the world. How is it that you were able to help him enhance that?
Well, I do a unique test. It's a blood morphology under phase contrast microscope. So you can see a person's drop of blood magnified 6,000 times in color. And so Tony Robbins had heard I was doing this work, and he asked me to come to his castle in La Jolla. And so I brought my equipment. He said, you got all of 15 minutes. His staff told me to sit down with Tony, and I did. And 15 minutes later, he leans forward and he goes, how did you know all that? And I said, well, this test is pretty revealing. Blood doesn't lie. You can see things. And he said, well, can you test a lot of people? And I said, yeah. And he brought his whole staff, and I tested them all. And then he leaned forward and he said, can you really test a lot of people? I said, sure. And he said, I have this program called Life Mastery coming up, and it's Mastery University. It's a 10-day program that we're going to have 1,000 people there, and I'd like you to test them. And I'm thinking, it's humanly impossible. No one could test 1,000 people in 3 days. I said, sure, I'll do it. And from there, I hired 20 technicians. We showed up. We tested everyone in groups. I lectured to them, and for 3 years, we had set up this whole incredible program where many people, the first time they met me, before they met Tony Robbins, they heard me speak about health and longevity and anti-aging at the cellular level. And from there, you learn a tremendous amount. You can really pinpoint how to kind of guide a person in the right direction.
So how did all of this passion impact your performance, not just into becoming healthy, but tell me about the world record breaking and all the crazy activities that you do?
Well, I was at the Arnold Classic, and I had met Dragan Radovich at another event in Anaheim, and he was competing against people with dumbbells, and he was just curling and pressing nonstop with 35-pound dumbbells, and he had lined up 10 guys, very strong muscular guys. He beat all 10 of them, and I'm watching this, and they were offering a $10,000 prize to beat him. So I stepped up, and I thought, he's probably tired by now. He's done 1,000 lifts, and I picked up the weights, and I knew how to do a lot of presses. I loved presses, so I started curling and pressing, and about 180, 200 lifts in, I'm starting to really feel it, and I'm watching him, and he's perspiring. I'm thinking, I got him. Then the announcer goes, and Dragan Radovich holds the world record, 1,475 lifts. And I'm thinking, quick math, he's got another 275 lifts minimum, and he's just warming up, and I'm like, my whole body's just shaking and rattling, and I'm like, oh my God, my shoulder's hurting from an old injury, and I just dropped the weights, and I was sore for 2 weeks, and I thought, my God, that man, he's incredible. And so I kept competing against him time after time until one day I had a showdown with him, and it was pretty exciting. But Bill Kazmaier, the world's strongest man, was there announcing at the Arnold Classic, and it was all on stage in front of thousands of people. And it got pretty exciting. But every year I kept competing until one day I broke his world record. I did 10,000 pounds more than he had ever lifted overhead in his own competition.
I love it. You tackled two important points here. How do you find passion when times are low and when things get tough? Because you go in thinking you're going to kick ass and then you find yourself, you lost. Most people would have quit at that point.
Right.
Where did you find that passion? And more importantly, to keep that going on and on and on and on. So I'm talking about how do you find it when you're low and how do you keep it going?
Well, I'm a big student of Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, all down the list. And I think you really gain that collective knowledge and then you apply it. But I condition my mind, and I noticed you have a background in NLP and timeline therapy. I use deep trance phenomena and what I call laser focused concentration. So what I do is I put my state in a deep trance phenomena and I visualize, I float up above the position, I watch where I'm going, and it removes me from pain. So while I'm lifting, I'm just breaking through pain barriers and just lifting, and I'm imagining the weight is light as a feather instead of it being heavy and getting harder to lift. And so I can just really literally condition myself to outperform anyone on the planet. And I now picked up where Dragon left off, and I'm competing, and guys are talking about betting a lot of money to their champions, see if they can beat me, and they're half my age. I'll beat them. I know I will because I train. I train every day at the beach after I drop off my son and at the school, and it's just something that invigorates me. That energy generates more energy. So every day I feel better and stronger and faster. And so my biological age has been tested out at about age 25. And they said in 45,000 people they tested, I was like in the top 2, not 2%, top 2 people ever tested. And they said, we've never seen anything like this. How come your arteries are so clear and clean, and your health and your heart and your energy is just through the roof? So I do certain things. I do 6 steps every day to make that happen.
Would you share those 6 steps?
I'll share a few of them.
Please.
One of them is that you really should be outdoors in the sun. The sun, we need that rays to generate certain hormones. We need to be out near the ocean, if you can get near the ocean or a body of water, or ground and stand. I stand in the ocean, literally a couple feet in the ocean while I lift my weights, and then it cools my body down. You don't want to overheat when you're lifting. You got to keep your body cool. And so I hydrate with a lot of hydrogen water. I use certain things and supplements that give me amazing performance without stimulants. I really don't have to use any kind of stimulants. It's kind of strange because people say, well, you use a lot of caffeine and this and that. No, actually it helps me too, because I get to sleep at sundown and I wake up very early, and I just have that incredible energy. So those are a few of the things, but I think it's more important to understand your hormone levels. So I have the doctors I work with, we test the people's hormones, find out what's deficient, what is out of balance. There's a lot of hormone disruptors in our environment and toxins. So you work through this 6-step plan, and my goal is to reach immortality. I want to be the longest lived person in history who have ever lived, and have sex on my 130th birthday and just celebrate until I reach beyond anyone's in lifetime recorded history.
I have to say, you're probably the only person ever in my life that beat the passion guy at the level of allergy, and you're my dad's age, okay? So I gotta salute you for that.
Hey, there's a gym right next door, so after we're done filming, I'll take you to task and show you what I do.
So one last question would be, passion and energy are interrelated.
Yes.
Which brings which? Does passion bring energy, or does energy bring passion?
Well, I think you have to have a purpose and a love of what you do, and that brings about that passion. But then you have to have that core energy behind it. And if I have a lot of people, they tell me behind the closed doors, and they're pretty famous people, that they have to put on a mask. They have to really get through it. I don't have to get through it. I show people how to really just create that energy and then generate it, and it ties into their passion, so they perform better than they've ever in their life.
It shows. You don't need to even say it. Your energy is blaring out. So that's amazing. I actually is one of the few times where I really have to stop going on, because I think we could go on for a couple of hours. I want to learn a lot about this. So I hope everybody goes to your site and follows what you're doing and learns from what you're doing, because I definitely want to be maybe more than you. The same way you kick somebody's ass, I want to kick your ass at your age. So when I get to your age, let's hope that happens by then. But good luck for your sex at 130 years old.
That's a given.
That's the kind of passion I love. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Take care.
Passion! I hope you really enjoyed this crazy episode as much as I did. I would love to hear your opinion, so leave your comments on the blog below and do share it with your friends. Go on to our social media and share it on all other platforms. And if you would like more tools, tips, techniques, and exclusive interviews that you'll only find on my website, go to Moustafa.com. And until next episode, live passionately.